time now for Countywide, a special presentation of Yavapai Broadcasting News. Join News Director Paul David and News Editor Philip Catafamo as they talk with our community's leaders, newsmakers, and people in the know. You'll hear about the hot topics in Yavapai County that affect all our lives. And now here's today's Countywide.
Welcome to Countywide. I'm Paul David. As always, it is great to have you in studio today. Instead of waiting until the week before it happens, we thought we'd come a few weeks out to give you some preparation, some time to think about things before it actually gets here, and that is Halloween night. It's going to be October 31st, a Thursday night. Cottonwood Police Officer Christopher Dowell is in studio. Welcome to studio.
Thank you.
He's going to help me get through this and take care of some of it. I'll take care of some of it, and we're going to kind of talk about just safety on Halloween night, because there's nothing worse than coming in on Friday morning and finding some kind of horrible story about something that happened on Halloween night that probably could have been prevented, hopefully.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that would be awful. So first of all, we were talking before the show, and we've seen this during other holidays too, where the holiday kind of falls right in the middle of the week, and that keeps law enforcement very, very busy for a certain reason. Halloween's on a Thursday night this year, so I was asking Chris here before the show, are you guys concerned about parties after Halloween? And your response was?
Yeah, when you have a Halloween that falls in the middle of the week, you'll end up with adult parties on either side of it. So it kind of drags into the 2-week or 2-weekend kind of situation. So it's important that you remember that you could have impaired drivers out there on both of the nights on the heavier amount because of the Halloween events going on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we would encourage, of course, drivers who are celebrating to not be that way.
Yeah, there's a lot of different opportunities out there to get home safely. Taxis, Uber, Lyft, those kind of things are really how to prevent yourself from being in a situation where you hurt somebody or you end up in a criminal situation that you have to kind of restart afterwards.
And who needs that hassle? A DUI sticks with you for at least a year. I knew somebody had a DUI, and they were always knocking on my door. Can you take me to the store? Can you take me down to the convenience store? Can you take me here? Can you take me there? Driving impaired with drugs. Driving while distracted. We've got all kinds of new driving things going on, it seems like. So we've got all that going on, but yeah, we do. And then designated drivers. You know, what I've been pleasantly surprised to see is that the Governor's Office of Highway Safety, when we do have, let me ask you this real quick, are we going to have DUI saturation patrols?
Yes.
Do you know? We will.
Yeah, we'll have DUI saturation. Alberto Gutierrez, who's the GOHS director, is very big about Halloween enforcement. Again, distracted driving while impaired, alcohol or drug related. Although medical marijuana is legal, it is not legal to operate while you're impaired. And that's a very important fact, because a lot of people think, well, it's medicine. Yeah, it's medicine, but you can't drive while impaired under the influence of your medical marijuana. So that combined with your distracted driving, whether it be the kids in the back, or your cell phone, and that when you have a whole bunch of other kids and you introduce them into the street at night in the darkness, that tends to multiply the risk to driving and being out.
I would agree with that. And I did notice that over the last year or two now, they include, when they do the DUI saturation protocols, we of course talk about the fact that there's going to be saturation patrols going on. We talk about that. And then the next week, Alberto Gutierrez sends out a press release saying, okay, this is how many people were arrested for DUI as compared to last year. What's nice to see is the designated drivers is actually increased each year. So get yourself a designated driver. Somebody out there doesn't want to have fun, so find that person and get them in the car and have them drive everybody around if there's a celebration going on.
Yeah, have somebody you can call even if you don't have a designated driver with you, have somebody that you can call as a backup just in case. A lot of people go out and say, I'm not going to drink today. And then they'll go out and they'll have one beer, and then, one beer becomes 2 beers. And then they're like, I can make it home. We have a program with GOHS. It's called Know Your Limit. And we go out and we educate people around the different events who have been drinking, actually. And we say, how many beers have you had tonight? And they'll say 1 or 2. And okay, well, you've had 1 or 2. Would you mind taking a portable breath test so you can see where you're at with 1 or 2? So you can actually picture how many drinks you've consumed with where you're at legally on the PBT. And it really teaches people I can actually go out and have one beer, be out for an hour, 2 hours, and that number not affect me driving. A lot of people think if I've had one, what's 8? So it's important that we teach people, hey, you can go out and drink responsibly and have one beer, be out for an hour, and that alcohol is out of your system. So don't think that you can't have one and be okay and drive. The problem is don't go out and think, well, I've had one, I might as well have 8 now and drive. So it's a very good program to teach and let people understand that one alcoholic beverage is about a 0.25 on the scale. Now, mind you, it varies based off of body weight and that kind of stuff.
Sure.
But it's about 0.25 breath alcohol or blood alcohol for the most part. So if you know that, well, you have about 3 beers for an hour or 3 alcoholic drinks in an hour before you're at the legal limit. So we try to teach it and encourage, hey, understand that so that you can process it when you've been out having a good time. You can say, well, I've had 4 beers. I'm probably over the legal limit at this point, over this amount of time. So I probably shouldn't be driving. Let me call somebody, you know.
Yeah, and we got the slightest degree too, so that's always there too, the DUI at the slightest degree.
Yes.
So they don't want you out there drinking and driving at all, period, zilch. Okay, so we've kind of talked, and then it's not a pleasant topic, but it's something that needs to be brought up. Sex offenders. People hear us talking about the sex offenders that are in neighborhoods. We do that for every agency across Yavapai County, and we mentioned the address and what area they're in. Sex offenders are not allowed to participate in Halloween. So I was thinking we bring this up, so if people know where they usually are in their neighborhood, there's a way you can go and track that through YCSO or through DPS, as you mentioned before the show. But if you see the lights on and they're passing out candy and they're participating in Halloween, that is not what's supposed to be happening.
Yeah, if you know that there's a registered sex offender in your community and you see them participating in trick or treat, please notify your local police agency and we'll come out and investigate it. Again, DPS and YCSO or Yavapai County Sheriff's Office has it posted on their websites, and you can see where these people live within the community and take appropriate action.
Sure. Drivers out, we got like a minute or two before we take our first break, but drivers out on Halloween night, if I'm just driving around, I'm not participating in Halloween night, I need to be extremely careful on this night if I'm out on the road.
Yes. Again, you have children running around, distracted driving. We live in a dark sky community, so we don't have an abundance of streetlights. So I would strongly encourage that if you're going to be out driving, that you slow your speeds down. If the speed limit is 25, maybe drive 20. Make sure that you're overly cautious, and when you get to those areas or you see kids on the side of the road, slow down for them on the side of the road.
Yeah, I agree. Overly cautious is a good way to go. Let's take our first break. Cottonwood Police Officer Christopher Dowell in studio today. We're talking about just Halloween safety in general. Stick around, countywide. We'll be back in just a couple minutes.
Feng Shui Artistry, the oldest form of development planning, today known as the art of placement. For 26 years, master Feng Shui educator, practitioner, artist, and author Caroline Patrick Bournet has used ancient rules of environmental, physical, and spiritual harmony to support clients' health, knowledge, creativity, and success. In mapping your home, you'll understand yourself. Better living is the gift of a lifetime. Change your life one room at a time. Schedule your Home Therapy 101 consultation today.
Show your customers how much they matter to you. Follow up with a real card in just 60 seconds with Send Out Cards. Send Out Cards makes it easy for busy professionals to leave a memorable impression. Stay in touch with a simple one-step process from your phone or computer to their mailbox. Call Judy today at 928-202-2557. That's 928-202-2557.
Been hearing about the crazy benefits of CBD? Find out how CBD can help you at Sedona's #1 resource, CBD Sedona. Come in for a free consultation and let our trained medical staff help you find the perfect product for you. Pain-relieving salves, full-spectrum oils, honeys, teas, cookies, and even CBD for pets. Ready to feel fantastic? Come on by CBD Sedona today.
Metaphysics. What does it mean? It's a branch of philosophy, literally beyond the science of matter. Sedona's University of Metaphysics studies the ultimate nature of existence, reality, and experience. Join 14,000 graduates in over 120 countries, helping others in counseling, coaching, ministry, and much more. The University of Metaphysics is here to serve the best in you so you can serve the best in others. universityofmetaphysics.com.
Welcome back to Countywide. I'm Paul David, Cottonwood Police Officer Christopher Dowell in studio today. We are talking about Halloween safety, stranger danger. We should probably, there's going to be a lot of kids out roaming about, and I was reading up on some of the safety tips and stuff, and it's like, make sure you tell your kids if they walk up to a house and the person says, oh yeah, I've got candy, but it's in here. Come on in. Don't do that.
Yeah, kids shouldn't be going into anybody's houses for candy. They shouldn't be getting in anybody's cars for candy. If a child or somebody tries to lure your child into the car, the child should know they should run. They should make as much noise as possible to escape that vehicle, and definitely never enter a home for it. If a house is not lit up, if there's something that just tells you, I don't like this house, then don't go to it. There's plenty of other places to go for candy. One piece of candy or two pieces of candy is not going to make or break your night. So if there's something that tells you this doesn't feel right, you should probably go with your instinct. Shouldn't let kids go out by themselves. They should at least be in groups. And there's really no set age for going out, but you should have common sense about it. If you're going to send your teenage kids out, they need to know that their 7 or 8-year-old child or their 7 or 8-year-old sibling is their responsibility, and that's it. Sometimes when we're teenagers, we kind of lose our minds sometimes, and other things distract us.
You bump into friends. Get to talking on the phone, and as you know, if you're talking on your phone and you have a 7, 8-year-old out trick-or-treating, you may look back at them and they're gone because they're up at the next house. So yeah, it's important that they understand that, along with the adults. And again, if it doesn't feel right, don't participate in that one. Yeah, it's pretty easy to get distracted on Halloween night, and there's so many kids. I wanted to mention really quick, too, before we keep going on, there's several events going on that are considered, I would think, pretty safe places to take your kids for Halloween. Uptown Sedona shuts down, and they do a Thriller performance every year with a bunch of actors that do the Michael Jackson Thriller dance. My daughter participated in that last year. It was amazing to see that. It's uptown Sedona. Main Street Clarkdale shuts down for several hours, and they even have a costume contest they usually have. So there's that area that you can go to. Camp Verde Main Street is going to be closed as well for a while during a certain period of time. If you're curious about where there's safe places to go, I would recommend the first place to probably go check is Parks and Recreation. Go to the Parks and Recreation Department, and then if you don't find anything there, talk with the local Chamber of Commerce. Usually they'll have some information as well. And then Old Town Cottonwood will have
They have the Harvest Festival.
They have the Harvest Festival, and then you and Cottonwood Fire have got a pretty neat little thing going on too.
Yeah, this year we're going to try out what we call Trunk or Treat at the Cottonwood Fire and Police Complex. Trunk or Treat, if you're not familiar with it, is where people park their cars, open their trunks up or their hatches to their SUVs. They decorate them for Halloween, have a little bit of candy, and it's a safer environment, especially if you have younger ones. They can stay in the parking lot. It's a little bit better lit. Surrounded by police officers. We'll have some police cars out there a little bit. We're going to have some of our volunteers. Our police cadets will be out there, which is our teenage
future law enforcement officers
future law enforcement and leadership kids from Mingus Union. They'll be out there to provide safety.
Very awesome.
And we just thought, you know what, let's give them a place where they can go. And if you don't feel comfortable with letting your kids run the neighborhood for it, that they can come out and have a good time. And we're doing it on October 30th so that you can still go down to these other places on Halloween. And how much money do we spend on Halloween costumes, right? So this gives the children a chance to wear it 2 nights. October 30th and 31st, they can be Superman or Batman or Wonder Woman for whatever it is for 2 nights rather than just the 1 night.
Fantastic. 2 days of superheroism. I like that idea. I like that a lot. I mean, we'll basically see the kids in their costumes for days after that. I've gone to stores after Halloween a week or 2, and there's still a kid roaming around in a costume.
Yes.
So it's always fun. So that's going on October 30th.
October 30th.
At the Cottonwood Safety Building, Cottonwood Police, Cottonwood Fire there on 6th Street in Cottonwood.
Yes,
so
6th and Aspen.
Yeah, 6th and Aspen. Okay, so we did talk a little bit about escorting kids on Halloween. It's one thing to let your kid go out at 1 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon with their friends. It's broad daylight, but when it gets to be 6 p.m., sun's going down, it's a different situation when they're roaming about by themselves at night. Let's talk about the folks who are expecting trick-or-treaters. I've spent many Halloweens at Brad Miller's house in Clarkdale, and literally thousands of kids come by. It's just this swarm of kids. And as you look down the street, you can see which houses are participating, which houses aren't participating. So if I'm going to participate in Halloween, how should the front of my house kind of look for the kids?
It should be well lit. Make sure your walkway is clear of debris. You don't have any cords hanging out. We don't want, obviously, a kid to get wrapped up in them. If you have a pet, it's probably best to put the pet away for the night. The costumes can scare the pet. We don't need to traumatize the pet. We also don't need a pet thinking that somebody's coming up to the house to hurt you. So it's probably best to put pets away. Make sure that if it had rained that night or something, that we make sure there's no puddles with the water. And again, just it's better to be a lit up house and a lit up walkway.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, so that's just to keep the kids safe as they're walking up and back and forth. My wife and I, we used to decorate our house when we lived at a different place, and I would always stand at the driveway and she would be up by the house, and that way I could kind of watch them as they went, because we liked it a little bit darker with the fog machine and all that stuff. But we never had any tragedy happen because there was somebody there with a light to kind of show them the way.
Yeah, and if you quite honestly, you're not sure you want them walking to your door, it's not uncommon to bring a chair and tables out to the sidewalk, decorate the chair and tables, and have it right there on the sidewalk, and just enjoy the night. It's great weather, and sit out there and interact with the kids actually on the street.
It's actually a nice way to meet your neighbors too as they go by with their kids, because some of them you don't know, you don't see them.
Yes.
And so here they are walking by, and I've met so many people that way just on Halloween night.
And it helps you keep an eye on them with the safety aspect too, because now there's another set of adult eyes. Even if it's not your children, you can at least see 2 or 3 houses down and have that kind of effect on the safety of it.
It takes a village, Chris. It takes a village, indeed. Lighting up the kids themselves on Halloween night. Now, we definitely want to make sure we do that so that they're visible, especially because a lot of the costumes are they're dark, they're black. Yeah.
One of the ways to get around, like if you're Batman, obviously you don't want to be, have a white costume. So one of the ways to do it is have them carry a very bright bag. You can decorate their bag and have reflectors on that if that's something that, they're, Dad, I don't want to have reflectors on me, I'm Batman. Okay, well, you can give them a bag for it. We usually tell them to bring a flashlight. Well, a flashlight's pretty directional. And if they're not directly flashing the flashlight at something, they might not see it. So nowadays they have the lights that are very cheap, $5, $7, that are flashlights and lanterns. So they have a lantern on the end so they can go either way with it. And a lantern's a good way to project light in the group rather than on one person, so that if you have reflecting items on people, a lantern will reflect that better than a flashlight necessarily. You can also put just reflectors around, their ankles or such. Like on our uniforms here, if I roll my sleeve out, I have reflector on it.
Oh,
so when we're directing traffic, I can do that. Even if you did that with your children and you gave them some type of reflector like that, that would have serve the same purpose.
I had no idea that was inside the sleeve of your shirt.
They
There
are
is
on the
something up your
sleeves.
sleeve.
And they're on the back of the shirts.
There's something up Chris's sleeve. Okay. Cottonwood Police Officer Christopher Dowell is in studio today. We're talking about Halloween safety. We want everybody to have a great holiday. Stick around. Countywide's going to be back in just a couple minutes.
Starting in the late 1920s, Grandpa Gettle and his brothers laid the groundwork for what would become a family legacy. Almost 100 years and 100 patents later, Gettle's High Desert Mechanical continues to raise the bar of quality heating, cooling, and plumbing products and services in the Verde Valley.
Call Gettle's High Desert Mechanical Heating, Air Conditioning, and Plumbing at 567-2200 or online at GettlesHDM.com, providing solutions for your comfort. Don't settle. Get Gettles.
Hi, this is Greg at Verde Solar Power. You know, Arizona has lots of clean, renewable sunshine, and we want to help you take advantage of it with our quality solar installations, and we offer to beat any written offer on a residential solar electric system. So bring us your electric bill and let us show you how solar power will save you money. We're located conveniently here in the Verde Valley and are dedicated to helping the valley go solar. So remember, the energy solution comes up every morning.
Hi, Todd of Todd's Appliances, your hometown appliance store. Studies have shown that when you buy from an independently, locally owned business rather than a box store, a lot more of your money stays local, therefore strengthening our community. From basic to high-end, we carry name brand appliances. Visit our store on Main Street in Camp Verde. With same-day, next-day service, we service what we sell what we service the least. TODD'sAppliances.com, 567-3062.
Hi, I'm your host, Smokey Colbert. Filling in for Smokey, because after 75 years of...
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Turns out there's much more to say. Nearly 90% of wildfires are caused by us humans being careless, dumping our used barbecue coals willy-nilly. Guess the song was wrong. We did start the fire. That's why I respect Mother Nature and her trees, whether coniferous or new car scented. Go to SmokeyBear.com to learn more about wildfire prevention.
Welcome back to Countywide. We've got just a few minutes left in the program. I think we've covered everything pretty good. I think we have. Other things is they recommend feeding trick-or-treaters before they go out at night so they're not sitting there gorging themselves on the candy and stuff. And then I'm not so sure if I agree with the rationing of the candy days and weeks. Maybe depending on the age of the child. I don't know.
Yeah, and I would discourage, I would encourage parents to have discussions with their children about don't eat the candy until somebody has inspected it. We live in a world now that we're not quite sure where that person may be who's out trying to hurt somebody. So it's important that we inspect the candy before it happens. If you have a piece of candy that you're not sure about, throw it out. It's really not that big of a deal. I know some children are, you can't throw my candy out. If that occurs, buy them some candy, have it somewhere else. So if you have to exchange it, you can say, listen, I'm going to exchange this piece with this piece. That's a good idea. So that you don't have, maybe that issue. But it should be inspected.
That's a good idea. The other thing I wanted to bring up, we talked about it before the show, was that when we used to have trick-or-treaters come by the house, say a couple hundred in a night, we would have some where the parents would pull up because sometimes neighborhoods, the stretches between the houses or the houses that are participating in Halloween gets to be kind of a distance. So you've got a parent that drives up, the kids get out of the car, they run up the house, they get their candy, they run back down the car, and mom and dad zip up to the next house. And I guess I want to talk to those parents and those guardians and make sure, okay, you've been at work all day long. Kids are excited about Halloween. You got all kinds of work stuff going on. You probably just got home, and now it's what Halloween typically starts about 5 o'clock if the kids are small. Yeah, you're really going to have to just slow down and make sure you do a 360 every time those kids get back in. Do a 360 to make sure you're not running somebody over.
Yeah, I'm not sure I'd be a fan of taking the kids door to door by vehicle, only because you're stopping and going and there's kids running around everywhere. But if you have to, if that's something that you're going to do because the houses are so spread apart, don't pull up right in front of the house. Maybe give it on the edge of the property so that you have time to evaluate the kids going in and out. It gives you a little bit more of a safety space there for the kids running in and out of the house. You don't want to be directly in front of the house because then you know the kids are going to be there. At least parked a safe distance to where you can see your children approach the house and yet see other kids who might be around your vehicle. That's very important. But again, the fatigue, the children running around, and then you and I both know that if you have more than one child in the car, you're going to have more than one agenda. So this kid might want to go to the left and this kid might want to go to the right, and that could pose its own problems.
Yeah, do your best to keep track of them and watch for the traffic coming through. And then if they're in the neighborhood, it's either walk on the sidewalk or walk as far as you, because some neighborhoods don't have sidewalks, walk as far as you can to the side of the road. Make sure you tell your kids not to be out in the middle of the street. And, it's going to be a night. It's going to be a night.
And that's a very big point, even for people who park within the city. Don't park on a sidewalk, especially on that night. If you're going to park that night, please don't park on a sidewalk because the children need the sidewalk to get around. And if we park on the sidewalk, we block it, now we're pushing the children into the street, which is not what we want to do. If the children are going to be walking along and there's no sidewalk, they should be walking against traffic, facing it so they can see it. and make sure that they're well lit. If you have somebody with a flashlight, that person should be closest to the road.
All right, Christopher, thank you very much. I appreciate your time today. That is today's Countywide. As always, we thank you for watching and listening. That's today's show, and we will talk to you again next time.